I'm Lisa Kuhneman. I live in Brattleboro. I have been interviewing a few people to find out more about the pay-as-you-throw issue. I'm here with Moss Kaler today. Moss is representing a group of petitioners who got together to basically object to what was going on with decision-making about pay-as-you-throw as a strategy for waste management here in town. And Moss, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about how your group of petitioners got together.
Okay, thanks, Lisa, for having me on your program. It's great to be here. I've been speaking a lot about pay-as-you-throw in the last few months, and it actually goes back to over a year ago at the town meeting last year. But let me first say a little bit about myself and why I might be interested in pay-as-you-throw. I was a selectman on the Brattleboro Select Board in about 1994 and 5 and 6, and that is the board that I was on enacted the curbside pickup of recycling. We joined the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District, and the MRF was built on Old Ferry Road. The landfill was being closed at the time, and as I mentioned, Brattleboro started the curbside recycling. I was also the Brattleboro's representative to the Solid Waste District for about, I think it was about 6 years. And so I have some knowledge, some historical knowledge of the start of the MRF and curbside recycling. And a year ago, the Brattleboro, or town meeting, the Brattleboro Select Board had pay-as-you-throw in their plans for, and this was a year ago, and the town meeting reps at that time voted it down, about 80 votes to 50 votes. And they instructed...
Moss, do you mind if I just clarify
Sure.
About the process that you're describing? So the select board had proposed a budget, and that's and a plan, and that budget and plan were reviewed by the town meeting reps at the town meeting in March of 2009. And at that time, the town meeting reps review the select board's proposal, and they essentially give it the go-ahead or they reject it.
Well, at that town meeting, the Timmy O'Connor, the town moderator, decided to have the committee dissolve, or have the town meeting reps dissolve into a committee of the whole, and they discussed pay-as-you-throw specifically for about 3 hours. And at the end of that discussion, the town meeting reps voted to not go ahead with pay-as-you-throw. That was in 2009.
So in a sense, they basically took off their town meeting hat for a little while to have a background discussion to understand what was going on?
I'm not exactly sure why committee of the whole was necessary. It has to do with Robert's Rules of Order. When town meeting reps are in a committee of the whole, you can't make any motions or take any action. It can just be and perhaps then could be a more free-ranging discussion without interruptions of people making motions and whatnot.
Right. So procedural steps are out of the picture. It's really just a conversation, an opportunity to have a discussion about the issue at hand.
Yes.
And then they put their town meeting rep hat back on, and they re-engaged their procedural rules, basically, and they voted against.
Yes, they voted against pay-as-you-throw, and they asked the select board to come back with a more developed plan, more thought-out plan about recycling and how we handle that in the town, and to consider some of the concerns that have been brought up about pay-as-you-throw. And then in 2010, just a few months ago, in this most recent town meeting, the select board came back with essentially the exact same plan. There were no changes. It wasn't fleshed out to any greater degree. They did have a price on the bags. They have two sizes of bags, 15-gallon and 30-gallon, and they came up with a price for those bags, and that was about the only thing that was really new. And they once again dissolved into a committee of the whole and discussed pay-as-you-throw for about another 3 hours this time around. And then the results was a little different. They ended up with a Sarah Edwards compromise and voted in favor of it. And this time, pay-as-you-throw with the Sarah Edwards compromise passed at about the same margin, around 80 votes to around 50 votes. And some people are unhappy with pay-as-you-throw and feel it is lacking as a program. Some people are unhappy with the compromise. They feel it was sort of half-baked. And I don't mean that necessarily in a mean way, just that it's pretty tough in town meeting with 140 town meeting reps in the gymnasium to try to redraft a plan. It's really not the best forum for that, and a lot of people felt that the compromise that came out of that, which essentially was to distribute $150,000 worth of free bags for people who felt that pay-as-you-throw would be a financial burden, would be made available to them, so it would ease that burden. And some people were unhappy with the way the select board was handling the whole process. That is, bringing back pay-as-you-throw with very few changes, basically no changes, putting it in the budget in such a way that I think the select board might have felt it was unassailable. Dick DeGray's comments at the informational town meeting, where he specifically said that he didn't care what the town meeting reps voted on pay-as-you-throw, that the select board was going to go ahead and do it anyway, no matter what the town meeting reps said, and that really rankled a lot of people.
So, Moss, I have a question about that. Like, as much as town meeting reps may have been unhappy with the particulars of the proposal last year and this year, and the meeting reps may have been unhappy with the process as proposed by Dick DeGray and his comments. What's your sense of how this can develop as a plan, how a plan can develop with the time and focus needed to make it a good plan, and the input needed to make it a good plan? And you can take that and think about it for a little bit. But what I'm wondering about, and this is one of the questions that makes me want to have this process of talking with people about an issue like this, is clearly people are unhappy with the process as it has unfolded. But what I hear the select board saying, if I listen for between the process issues, is this isn't going away.
Well, I think the issue of the town of Brattleboro's recycling performance is not going away. I think most everybody agrees that Brattleboro could increase their recycling rate. It's currently calculated at about 17 or 18%. I think at times it's been in the 20+% recycling rate. And the national average is somewhere around 30%. But those numbers are pretty hard to compare one town to another. They have different types of pickups. Some do curbside. Some people drop their waste off at a transfer station. Some towns might, their hauler might pick up a combination of commercial, industrial, and residential trash, and then it's hard to keep track of. Some towns pick up all their residents' trash, including people who live in apartment buildings. Brattleboro doesn't pick up a good portion of their residents' trash. Those people who live in apartments with 5 units or greater are not picked up by the town. And so
those are picked up privately.
They're picked up privately. The landlords have to arrange to pick that up. And so that tonnage is not figured in. I don't know how the tonnage is figured in with the recyclables that are dropped off at our remote recycling drop-off centers. There's one at the MRF on Old Ferry Road, and there's another one that gets heavily used over by the high school on Fairground Road. And
Can you just to explain what the MRF is for me?
The MRF is a materials recovery facility.
Okay.
And